Hello, everybody. Just make sure our panelists get here. I think are we good?
Joe's here.
There you go, Joe. And there's Aaron. Excellent. All right, we're all here. So thank you for joining us, gentlemen. Let me just kick off the session here. So this session, we're going to talk about the business value of master data management. Throughout the day, we're talking about the business value in some shape or form, but we've got sessions later in the day where we're talking about how we got it justified, and then other people telling their stories, which all kind of embed the whole story of the business value. But we thought we would have a session here with two expert practitioners who are using MDM, specifically using Profisee, and we'll get into that way. So let's introduce ourselves all first. My name is Martin Boyd. I'm VP Product Marketing here at Profisee, and I'm actually, obviously hosting this session and a few others during the day. So let's have our experts introduce themselves. Let's start with Aaron from Chair Simplot. You can just tell us what you do, what your company does, and tell us a little bit about your MDM use case.
So welcome, everybody. My name's Aaron Gorham. I'm the Senior Director of Enterprise Data and Analytics at a company called Simplot. I've got about 30 years of experience in the data space and about 20 or so in and around master data. So my company, which you've never heard of, but you've had our products in that we sell a lot of French fries to McDonald's, Burger King, and stuff like that, along with making fertilizer and a lot of other industrial agricultural products. Our challenge and what we're really looking at from a master data perspective is twofold. The first one is that we're getting ready to do a pretty significant ERP conversion project over the next couple of years, and making sure that our master data is as solid as we can make it is great. And that when I say that we're also dealing with about 8 ERPs at the moment. So that's a big challenge that we're using Profisee to help us with. And then the second area that we are using master data for every day is we do a lot of mergers and acquisitions, and our ability to turn master data around is turning into a core competency for us, so that we can make sure that when we do integrate a new organization, it flows right in just as you please, and we don't have a lot of duplication and other areas that we have to go back and fix in post.
Fantastic. And just, I think we talked about, I don't think you mentioned this just now, but your personal background. This is your third go around on implementing MDM, right? We don't need to mention the other companies or whatever, but you have a lot of experience here, and this is the happiest you've ever been, right?
That's right. That's right. We'll say that here.
Excellent. Good to hear. All right, Joe, can you tell us just a little bit about your background, your company, and kind of what MDM's doing for you guys?
Yes. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Joe Palomba. My role at Rheem Manufacturing Company is Vice President of Enterprise Applications. That really means that I look after ERP systems, supply chain systems, warehouse, transportation management systems, and our master data management and analytics practice. From a Rheem perspective, we are both an HVAC manufacturing organization and a water organization. So you might see us at Home Depot, right, where we sell hot water tanks, tankless tanks as well for home heating, if you will. We have undergone a significant digital transformation over the past few years. Transformation in customer experience, transformation in supply chain, transformation in data and analytics and master data management, in connected products. And what is happening within the industry around air and water products, the air and water products are merging as technology changes. And as air and water products merge, the skill sets within the industry are merging as well. Contractors, plumbers, electricians, all of these products are becoming like kind. And the way Rheem has been organized traditionally, they've been organized as an air company or a water company. And all of our systems and processes and data have been bifurcated across either air or water, let's say systems and data and processes. We now have a unique opportunity to go to market as a air and water company. It's a significant strategic advantage for us. But in order for us to do that, we have a lot of, let's call it master data management transformation that we have to do kind of internally and externally. So our big use case here has been, how do we take all of our disparate systems that house distributor data and kind of mix, match, merge all of that data into a single source of truth where I can look at a distributor for our air businesses, our water businesses, all the BUs within, and look at this distributor from a Rheem perspective. That has been a massive transformation for us and a big use case.
Fantastic. So let's talk about the strategic value of MDM first. Joe, the way you describe that as a digital transformation and how it's there's a pivot in your business to become a more integrated business as opposed to separate businesses. So what is it specifically that MDM is doing for you there? And if we went to one of the execs in your company, how would they characterize the role of data and the role of MDM in allowing this strategic pivot that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Our organization, really air and water. And now the organizations are coming together as Rheem, and the ability for us to now strategically look at a distributor as Rheem and be able to find upsell, cross-sell, white space within this data fabric are capabilities that we never knew we could do, let's say, so easily. And, the other strategic aspect of what is happening within the industry and within our executive ranks, if you will, our strategic customers are beginning to understand that air and water products are complementary of one another. So there is strategic pull from our customers to work with us as Rheem, air and water. And now we're able to provide back to our strategic distributors the air and water footprints with our strategic distributors. So we're now able to collaborate with our distributors in ways that we could never collaborate before, because distributors would work with us either on the air side or the water side. Because now we've joined data forces, if you will, we're now able to present a data model back to our customers in ways that they never thought we could do either. Oh, you're on. Aaron, can you hear?
Yeah, Martin, I can't hear you.
Oh, Martin, we can't hear you.
Hold on.
Here we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. Get my train of thought back. So Joe, I was just recapping. There was a number of things that you talked about there. There's a highly strategic initiative. There's the ability to cross-sell and upsell to existing customers now that you are merging. And then there's the ability not only to service your customers with and drive your own revenue, but to service your customer experience by giving them a more holistic view. So those are at this kind of strategy level. Those would be the things that you're doing, right?
100%.
Fantastic. All right, we'll come back and dive into some of those details a little bit in a minute, and which ones kind of have KPIs put on them and whatsoever. But Aaron, so you're migrating multiple ERPs to a single new, I think it's SAP ERP. What's the role of MDM there, and how would you? Is it a strategic value? Is it a tactical value? How do you characterize that inside the company? How would you describe to people the value that MDM is bringing to you?
I think the big thing here is really, as part of this whole migration, is really, how do we start to work together as one Simplot? Right now, each ERP has its own set of processes, even though it's for the same business process, their own way of doing things. We have data discrepancies all over the place. I can't tell you how many times we've got a roll of duct tape in our material master because it's hard for people to find stuff. So really what we're trying to do is consolidate this master data. And when we do bring all these ERPs together, make it so that it's just foundational and fundamental to making my customers' lives easier, to enable some of these strategic things that we want to be able to do from a process improvement perspective. I think the other part of this too, that my company, it's pretty much a holding company. So we've got, 3 major divisions that sort of do things their own way, and they're very siloed in their thinking and how they operate. I think when we get our master data right and we're able to look across the enterprise, we're going to be able to see things and answer questions that have a much larger through line than what we can today. And I think there's some insights that are going to be available that would be really challenging to get at today, that we'll be able to get to tomorrow with our master data practice coming into bear.
Are you able to put a number on or a particular metric around the ERP migrations that you're doing, the how much faster, cheaper, easier, more correct is it to do it with MDM versus some other method? Or is your view that there is no other method at the scale we're at, we just couldn't do it any other way?
So I think here's the thing, in that we don't have a number. But the easy one is that if people can't trust what they're seeing and we make it harder for them to do their jobs, we're failing. I think you have to have master data done right in a company to be effective. And if you think about it, if you have one person that needs a customer list and it takes them a half day to massage that down so that the duplicates are gone and all that's happening, then you multiply that by multiple business units and sub business units, the amount of time that we spend doing just data cleanup and organizing it, and then not to mention the fact that people do it differently every time. That's just a lot of waste for the company. It doesn't feel like it because it's just going to take a few minutes, what people say. But when you really accumulate bad master data management practices, it really adds up. And I think if we're going to move into this one singular ERP, we have to be really, really good and really disciplined about how we treat master data to get any kind of strategic benefit out of it.
So you've both said, I think in different ways, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you've both said it's strategic and there isn't really an alternative. We have to do the data work and there's no other sufficiently scalable way to do it. Is that accurate for both of you? And
yeah, I think that's well said.
Okay. So
I would just add on to what Aaron is saying. Aaron's perspective I share as well. And within Rheem, data management and data governance has never been as important as it is today. That's all the company is talking about, because as technologies change and new products get introduced to the market and how we have to digitally communicate product data to distribution, if it's not released on time, if the data is not accurate, if the data is not governed, then we're in big trouble with our customers. So it is top of mind for everyone within Rheem.
Fantastic. So you're building muscle, I think is another way of saying it. There's hygiene, there's just good data practices, and you're building core capability for going forward. And without it, the business would be just less of a business. That makes sense. It's difficult to use that kind of thing generally as a justification to buy and to get started and to fund the team, and to maybe once you've got going, it's clear that you can't take it away. But when you're trying to kickstart this, how do you describe the business value? And are you forced to put numbers on individual pieces of this, or to segment off a piece part and say, we could do this with spreadsheets and it would take X hours, or we could do it with MDM and it would take Y hours? I mean, at what level are you being asked to make a justification?
If I can take that. So, I had mentioned earlier that we were undergoing multiple digital transformations, right? And one of the transformations was in the customer experience section, right? And the name of the project was actually One Customer Experience. How do we create a 360-degree view of a customer, bifurcated across many business units and our air and water organizations? That was the name of the project. And I came to them, a little bit I don't know, let's say a quarter through the project, and I had asked the question, how are we thinking we're going to achieve one customer experience mindset where we could do things like, increase customer service by X%, increase call handling time by X%. These are real metrics and dollar values that the organization was going after. There were no answers until we started to crack the nut with master data management and master data management principles, and how all of this data could come together as one, create golden records, and move them into our customer experience application, our CRM application, to begin to achieve the one customer experience metrics that they were looking to get as part of that digital transformation.
So that project was already approved at the highest levels. It was viewed as strategic. It was funded in whatever shape or form, but they had a gap in their capability, and it seemed like they weren't going to be able to execute unless you stepped in with some capability to help them.
It would have been impossible.
And so at that point, they're just pulling it out of your hands and saying, okay, we need that, and we don't even need to ask about the details. It's so clear that there's a strategy here that you need to be there to support it.
But as a result of the success here, executives now understand the capability of what is possible, what is the art of the possible here. Now we're going after other master data management objects like contractors, plumbers, homeowners, suppliers, etc. It is a massive transformational data shift that because of the customer experience project, we're now thinking bigger and more strategically.
Excellent. So really building a core competence for the business. Once you get it kickstarted, it hopefully builds its own momentum and keeps going. So Aaron, wanted to come back to you. Were you kind of in the same situation that we're going to be migrating these ERPs? We know it's going to have to happen. That's not really a question. The question is only how are we going to get there from here, and how are we going to accomplish some pieces of that?
Yeah, so it was so my old boss was pretty masterful at how he thought about things. And there was a question early on with this project is, do we need a master data quality, data governance? Why do we need all this, this extra overhead on this project? And, of course, you can look at the white papers of failed SAP implementations, and they almost always are like, hey, this is a 9-figure problem that blew up because the master data sucked. And so so that was kind of a justification. But what my boss did that was genius is, so he did kind of what Joe's talking about is, okay, let's look at what happens if we do it right. And let's just say, here's what the vision is. How do we line up with that? But he also went through, it did something that I wish I was smarter to think about this, is he walked our leadership team, the executives, through this whole program called Data is Hard. And just walk through, like, why do you need master data? Why do you need governance? Why do you need these different areas? And it all of a sudden made people go from this abstract idea of, hey, I can do stuff in spreadsheets. Why is this a big deal? To, oh boy, we really, really want and need this. So it's something as simple as just walking through some examples and just showing them some real world issues that are occurring. All of a sudden that really cemented our leadership's mind around, okay, yeah, we got to do this and make this investment. And so far it's paying off. That's really interesting.
I think as the audience listens to some of the, we call them hero spotlights, the individual customer profiles that are running during the day, I'm pretty sure 2 out of 3, if not all 3, said that part of how they got the thing funded and justified was they just showed them some of the data, the before and the after of, here's what our data looks like today. Look at all these things that look horrible. This is what it ought to look like, and the only way to reconcile them, to make it all in the preferred state is a program, which MDM is the cheapest way of going about it, or the most effective, scalable way of going about it.
Right.
Were there any specifics? I really like the idea of the whole Data is Hard program. What would be some examples within that? Were they specifically master data or other aspects of the data?
No, they're related to master data. And really what we would show is we've got crossover customers between multiple different ERPs. And so the ERP's data structures are different. The data's in there, and we just showed examples of here's what you can't do today. And then walk through here's why it takes so much work to get this down to one point and this many people and technology, and just kind of walk them through step by step of how you'd have to look at that data and transform it. And the light bulb really went off. And I was kind of half joking about, duct tape, but I mean, like if we ever want to get better at procurement, that was the other one we brought up is, hey, we've got, hundreds of lines worth of this material in our material master. Number one, how's their end customer supposed to pick the right one? And then number two, how are we ever going to get volume discounts and do all the things that our procurement organization wants to do to help improve our cost structure and our spending structure. So it didn't take a lot of convincing.
Excellent. So you both talked a little bit about how you kind of got the ball rolling, and in both cases, you're piggybacking on an established strategic program and demonstrating clearly how you could assist the program in being successful. What KPIs, key performance metrics, do you monitor today as the project is rolling and you're hopefully already delivering value and thinking about delivering more? What are the key performance metrics that you keep an eye on for yourselves to make sure that things are on track, or you keep an eye on in order to report them to other people? Joe first.
KPIs is always a tricky ask, right? And the language that we've been communicating to date around what we've done around distributors has been, in order to create a customer experience, in order to merge our air and water businesses together, we had to obviously look at the distributor internal systems and external systems in order to create this golden record, right? So when we started the journey, Martin, we started with about 3.8 million distributor records. And when we were finished, kind of the data management exercise here with distributors, we went to 77,000. So that was a massive, call it metric, call it KPI, call it what you want, but going from 3.8 million records to 77,000 to merge our air and water businesses together, to now be able to locate and identify upsell, cross-sell in white space, was something that we never had the capability to even think about. So I think as a result of laying the data foundation, KPIs will start to emerge, right? How much additional revenue do we think we've ascertained this year, next year, through the data structure that we've been able to generate? How much strategic new business are we doing with our strategic distributors because we're able to work collectively like this? So maybe a long-winded answer, but I think the foundation is now set to create new KPIs that we were never able to generate before.
So let me press you a little bit on that. Moving from 3.7 down to 77,000 is enormous, clearly. There must have been a lot of old redundant data in there that you didn't want, and now you've got rid of it. And as you said, you're laying the table for cross-sell, upsell, selling into white space, etc. Are you going to attempt to measure for yourself how much impact you've had on the cross-sell, upsell, or do you just, here's the better data, and now somebody else carries the ball and takes credit for the additional revenue? I'm just trying to figure out how again, business value, you're enabling a huge amount of business value, but how much of it do you measure and take credit for?
Yeah, listen, I think that's a great question. I think right now it's more of a joint kind of partnership between IT and business. And, this is so new for us. The entire operating model of the organization is changing to actually be able to think like this, because remember, we were so bifurcated before. And now that we're able to come together, the operating model around how we manage data, who manages it, how we get business architects and business relationship management created within the organization are all things that are starting to happen kind of organizationally. So we're in the maturity curve, we're kind of we're climbing the maturity curve a little bit here from a people perspective as well.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think everybody who views MDM and digital transformation data estate work, which is what we're talking about all of today, everyone is in a little bit in the forefront and kind of figuring things out as they go along. So different people are being asked to handle them differently. Aaron, let me ask you the equivalent question. You're helping, you're I don't want to say piggybacking, you're assisting the migration to SEP. That's the value of that appears to be established, and you're helping make it happen. What metrics do you care about? Is it the number of ERPs that we've switched over? Is it the amount of records that we've processed? Is it the number of domains, or is it? Do you take credit for the new value of your new stood up SEP system when it arrives?
So we're in a similar boat to Joe. We're pretty, like, right now, we haven't really stuck the landing as far as getting the ERP out. So it's hard for us to say this is our contribution to the end value, because we don't know what the end value is yet. However, I mean, the way we're measuring ourselves right now is really around like some data quality type metrics. Some metrics around how are each of our domains, what we're doing to obsolete customers and, get them ready to get merged, and how much are we prepared to convert. And I think to Joe's point, and I think, to the overall discussion, you got to be a pretty good marketer to really say that, yep, if without master data, the whole world dies and everything's broken to death. I mean, I don't think that's real. But how you tie yourself.
Are you really sure?
Yeah. But I mean, I think the thing that, and this is going to be a little bit cute, I'm not being asked to justify this and put a lot of KPIs around it. It's really more a matter of, are we sure we're getting into our new ERP what we want and what makes sense? I think that's really the key performance indicator. And this is going to sound cute, and I know that, but it's like, well, I think you really find out the value of master data when you stop doing it.
Yeah.
When you stop paying attention and you let your hands off the steering wheel and just have more of a hope strategy to get you where you need to go, it's not going to end great, and you're going to really wish you'd done it. And I think the industry, at least in my company, I think we get it enough to where it's like, yeah, we just have to do it.
All right, just to add on to that one quick point, in terms of monetizing some of this work. The other approach we're starting to take is we're starting to monetize how much a data escape costs the business, right? So it's a different metric, right? So if I have a data escape, how much will it cost us in accelerating, air freight from a components perspective, because we didn't govern and master our components in the right way, right? And being able to come up with that type of analysis is helping us justify new headcount into the organization to manage and govern this type of data.
Excellent. All right, so we're about a minute to go. Do you either one of you have just a really quick words of advice for our audience? There's a large audience here listening to you and your experience. Anything that you would like them to hear as a final word before we close out?
I would just say, going into this master data management project with Profisee, I can tell you I was personally concerned. I thought these projects were way more complicated and took much longer based on maybe history. But I was really, really pleasantly surprised at how well this went, how quick it went, and how the technology was absorbed within our organization. So I was really pleasantly surprised.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I just want to echo that our journey has been around for a long time. It's going to be around for a lot longer, and I'm genuinely really appreciative of the Profisee software, but more importantly, the Profisee organization to help us through this. You guys have been great partners.
Fantastic. All right. So thank you very much, both of you, for your time, and thank you for being customers and being good data hero exemplars to everybody else here. Again, thank you for your time. We'll finish this one here, and I'll be back in just a few minutes with Wangui McElvey from Microsoft, and we'll talk about some of the things they're doing to help all of us on our journey. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks. Take care.
Bye, everyone.